Now, Pat Harvey. David Jackson.
David Jackson introduces you to a Southland actress who's one of Vietnam's hottest stars. David Jackson takes you to war-torn Afghanistan, the new hopes, the new freedoms, the age-old challenges, journey into the heart of danger.
But Afghanistan changes dramatically when you're outside a city. And leaving the nation, we faced a 300-mile drive.
Many of these buildings are really structurally unsound. That was a tall semi-skyscraper here in downtown Baghdad, and it will almost certainly have to be torn down after what we saw inside there.
Well, Pat, I wanted to mention that there has been sniper fire almost every night, directioned usually in some fashion toward the Marines. And again, you're right, they have not returned that fire. But that is something that I think they realize now will be a constant in their time that'll be spent in Somalia. We've even heard gunfire just a few moments ago standing up here on this roof, so it continues through the day. And of course, it is especially bad at night.
Well, Laura, let me show you an absolutely incredible sight behind me right here. You are looking at a gigantic instant city. This is more than 200 pieces of firefighting equipment, more than 1,000 firefighters, all dropped into the wilderness out here to battle this huge Sequoia fire. Almost 1,000 firefighters are sound asleep right now, and I do mean sound asleep because many of them have been up for days fighting this fire. They are expected to go out onto the fire lines tomorrow. The wind is expected to pick up. Right now it's down, but it could be another tough day, only 30% contained. I'm David Jackson in the Bergen oil field in southern Kuwait. The lone survivor of the accident, bodyguard Trevor Reese-Jones, is expected to be able to speak with police by the end of the week. His crucial account of what happened is also likely to determine the fate of the 7 photographers who were taken in for questioning after the crash occurred. Many people here in Colorado are just beginning to realize how bad this tragedy was today. I was actually told that over the past couple hours by at least half a dozen families who said it's taken them this long to really come to terms with the level of horror that took place inside this high school today.
Here in Louisiana, they are estimating certainly a very rough figure, billions of dollars in damage due to the hurricane coming through here earlier today.
He had lost contact with people before, only to reappear within 2 to 3 days, never much longer.
Keiko the killer whale, star of the movie Free Willy, is coming back to his original home here on the windy shores of southern Iceland.
It was thought that the Michigan judge's ruling that banned clenched fist punching along with headbutting might strip this event of what the crowd came to see. The name Montenegro, of course, means mountain that is black. That's because when sea captains were out offshore here and they looked into this landscape, they saw the heavily forested, what looked to them to be black mountains. This is the Valley of the Kings, one of the traditional burial sites for Egypt's ancient pharaohs.
I said yes before I really knew what the mysterious tunnel was like. We will go beneath the Valley of the Kings when we come back in a moment.
And before we go tonight, I want to mention real quickly that there is one little element of bright news here, and that is that the Marines have now dropped this leaflet on the people of Baidoa, trying to inform them in a graphic way that the Marines will be there soon, and will be friendly.
Well, Mark, all you have to do is take a look at that mountain of smoldering metal behind me right there to really get a firm idea of exactly how horrendous this task is going to be here in New York City. Here we are at 2 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Work obviously continuing around the clock, but as I mentioned, really looking closely at that gives you an idea of just why this is such a monumental task.
We're here in the middle of New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, and it is darkest New Orleans, of course, with no electric power, and you can imagine just how dark this city gets at night. One of the reasons why it is so dangerous. We're right here in the middle of a large military encampment.
Laura, fire is still burning out of control here in Los Alamos, New Mexico, although it has broken up into several areas. Some over to this side, over behind me, and then there is some behind the ridgeline, as you see right here. This is the area near the Los Alamos National Laboratories, just behind those trees. That is federal land where sensitive nuclear material is stored. It is not threatened by this fire, but of course much of the remaining countryside and part of the town is due to these very, very unpredictable winds.
We just moved down the way here, down this dirt road, Pat. Take a look here to the right, Ron, and you'll see that we moved ourselves down around the actually the wrong side of this fire to an extent. This is the downwind side.
At one point you're looking at it thinking, well, we're not getting out of here. Everybody's going to live in the car, sleep in the car, and you start looking around to see how much food you've got with you and whether or not you can come up with some kind of water. What were they shooting at? Shooting at a car?
Children in the street showed me where, just hours before, Israeli missiles had blasted a car, killing a Palestinian general.
They told us this was a devastated town. Now you get a pretty close idea at exactly what that means. That means almost every structure and every building here is down or will have to be torn down after this.
In just minutes, David Jackson takes you on a journey to Vietnam.
Hanoi is about 1,000 miles north of Saigon, and it's about 1,000 miles behind Saigon when it comes to its economic development. It is really still a very communist city, and it is a place that has not established business ties with really anybody here in Southern California. Live in Little Saigon, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Mark, Laura, everyone, back to you. Live in New York, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Laura, Mark, back to you. All right. Live at Big Bear, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Mark, back to you. Live in Los Alamos, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Reporting live in Waco, I'm David Jackson. Now back to you, Pat. Live in Kennedy Meadows, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Back to you, Harold. Live in Lower Manhattan, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. David, back to you. Live in Jerusalem, I'm David Jackson. David, Laura, back to you. Live in Baghdad, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Ellen, back to you. Outside London, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Live in Glendale, David Jackson, ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Harold and Laura, back to you.
Oh, David, you still got a little bit of the teeny bopper in you. We saw that tonight. Thank you.
But for now, live in Kuwait City, I'm David Jackson. Pat, back to you in the studio.
Okay, David, and I'm going to take this time to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving. I miss having you here.